Here's my microphone. It's got its hat on, but it seems like it shrunk when I washed it. Okay, so I got Matrix Resurrections Blu-ray from the library because you know I have no money, but I did get it. I wasn't expecting to get it so soon, and then it was in, so I ran down there to get it, and so I just started to watch. I decided I was going to watch the special features first, and I just started to watch it, and so they asked them to. I'm going to go back a second. So I'm just reacting to all this stuff, and you would think I watched it on YouTube, and I thought I did, but I'm like, I don't remember exactly this.
So I'm looking at the camera to say what the
So they are explaining. They've been asked to explain, like, or do a catch up of the Matrix, right? They're having a really hard time.
So the Matrix is about a guy.
So apparently, so far, people remember Trinity kicking people from the air. Keanu can't do it, walks away, embarrassed. What's the deal with Keanu being shy? Still, it's just funny to me. Because he did the same thing. Like, I remember watching the premiere as it happened. And they would ask him a question, and he would just do that thing where he walks away in a circle. I don't get that. Anyway. Let's see. This is Chad Stahelski. Chad. Does that explain? Alright, I'm sure everybody knows. But does that explain to people who are watching this? Oh, I guess it's enough that he plays Chad. Okay, now I feel like they're reading. Because at first they were like, Okay, he's the only one who also spoke in more than one sentence, so it kind of seems like he's the only one who watched it. I'm sure that's not the case, but it's interesting. When you watch a movie a million times and then the actors have to explain it and they're like, yeah, okay, so okay, so I sat through a bunch more, and then again we get to Chad, also known as Chad, who's totally explaining it. And the blue-haired girl, I just forgot her name, was it Jessica? I know, I couldn't read that part, that was too complicated. She seems to be explaining it too, but everybody else did a horrible job. Alright, I'm just sitting here watching this, and already my face is smiling, which I'm not meaning to do. I don't understand how people didn't like this movie. I'm just, I don't know. I mean, my soul might not be smiling, but my face is. Now they're talking about reloading, and at this point, Keanu's only getting out the middle of words. The Merovingian. Oh my God, Lambert Wilson. I would really love that spin-off series, but you know. I paused it. I already realized I'm going to hate it when they start explaining stuff that's not my interpretation. Maybe I shouldn't have watched this. Well, I have an end time feeling anyway, so let's go. Like an end of all things. Everything's coming to a head right now in my life, so maybe, yeah. Let's just blow everything apart. I decided earlier today that maybe I can't be a Durrani anymore, because I read a quote that was so stupid from one of them about the current situation in the world that I'm like, anything I cling to in this world is wrong. Let's just blow it all to hell. Yeah, once again, I like the Revolutions best, but yeah, me and Jonathan Groff have the same explanation of the Sentinels. I could kill it. Okay, so that's kind of my explanation, but also, I still don't think he died. Okay, so that was the first bit. That was the one called "No One Can Be Told What the Matrix Is." They just told us. Resurrecting the Matrix. Now let's see what's in that part. I don't know what it is, but I have had a very hyper day, and I got very hyper, and I was like, "Ooh, I'm gonna go get the movie."
To me, is there gonna be another Matrix?
This movie makes me hyper.
And I would think,
like I said before, when I saw Revolutions, I felt like that should have been the third movie out of 5, not the end.
I literally went home and told my husband, I think
this isn't exactly what I would have done, but I was glad there was going to be a 4th one. You know, I'm not trans. The world is not comfortable for me either. I complain all the time about being an alien and not belonging here, so I think it's a human experience. I'm getting out of focus. But yeah, I think it's the human condition. I don't think it's particular to any
soothe us in times
specific
of
group of people.
And
See, from here, I'm not out of focus.
would you just
Thinking
happen
with
to
other
start
people's minds. You know, all this energy stuff, this is all stuff I believe in. This is why
couldn't have imagined
not
something
good at it,
possible only if you
but
let
I believe
go
it.
of all of the old.
See how she said it's a rectangle that encompasses the other rectangles? I got that! Which honestly means you need another rectangle. Oh, they're really explaining it. Should I keep watching this? Because I don't want to upset myself when it's not what I thought it was. I'm going to end up watching this stuff 50 times over. When does memory become a fiction? Well,
I don't know.
yeah.
But you made the
So basically,
It's a metaphor.
it's not my interpretation at all. But this is why we like David Lynch, because David Lynch doesn't tell you what his movies are about. Also, another person who, due to the current war type situation, another one of my big idols that I'm just kind of like, I haven't been watching his weather reports since he said something to Putin. I don't belong here anymore. Yeah, I'm reacting to this, and I have to keep talking about what's going on in the world because I exist in this version of the world. I don't know if the people who hated this movie should watch this behind the scenes stuff with all the explanations in it, because I don't know if that'll make it better or worse. Because I think for me, it's probably going to make me like it a little bit less, or not like it less, but you know. That's why you need your own interpretations. No, I'm gonna keep watching it.
It's not the screen anymore.
I liked what I was calling the cinematography.
So now we have.
I couldn't pause it. I liked what I was calling the cinematography better in Resurrections than the old movies, or the lighting or whatever, but it was just the sun. But I liked it better in Resurrections than I think a lot of people like the more exacting look from the original trilogy. But yeah, that's what I was calling cinematography and lighting and all that. Okay, so the idea that because of the sun and everything and now it looks fake, or it's supposed to be presented as fake, but it's real, and Keanu said it's being it's coming closer to home. That's what I thought of that final shot with you know, Oracle and Sati at the end of Revolutions. I guess I jumped ahead. I'm gonna try not to talk as much and just watch, but eventually I'm gonna rewatch the whole movie. And I don't know why I'm doing this. I'm just a strange person. And I started recording. Okay, so the cinematographer, director of photography. Do I know him from something else? Because I feel like I know that name. They're doing all this shit with masks too.
And
I just went to the IMDb to check on the cinematographer, and I go to the page, and it's got an average score of 5.7, but my rating is 10. I can't tell you how many times I've done that, but it does not belong being a 5.7. People suck.
You don't get to rehearse much. You're in it.
You may have heard me say this before. No, you haven't. Nobody watches these. Wait a minute. I can't interrupt him. He's so beautiful. So,
She has a kind of confidence in herself.
Donnie Darko. I ruined Donnie Darko by running out the day it came out on DVD. Buying it. This was before Blu-rays existed. Buying it, running home, putting it in the machine, watching it once through, then watching it with the commentary on, and the commentary ruined my interpretation of the movie. So, I'm a little bit nervous still, but again, I actually didn't know this Tiger guy was involved in this one. I don't know why I didn't know that. I don't pay attention like I used to. But I didn't know he was involved in this one. Okay, you know what? Let's pretend I was a person who did any kind of action in a movie and there was choreography. I would want to stick to that choreography. I would not want to change it on the fly. That's what I think the difference might be. Maybe a little bit. I mean, I didn't mind the action. I'm saying for the people who did. They didn't like it. They didn't think it was as good. That's my guess. Like it was more open to what do you call it? Not ad libs, but you know what I mean. Last minute adjustments. What the hell's wrong with me? I'm hitting the button at the wrong time. I gotta go back because, okay, when I was talking about Coppola and how I identified with what he said, even though he's way older than me, I feel that old, and how actually I do think what they think about the movies, the action in the movies looking the same, and how but you know, Scorsese was applying that to the Marvel movies and kind of dismissing them outright now. Dismiss them, but you know, for me, when I do start watching like the action movies and it's all the same action, it starts to look the same to me. And Coppola was kind of saying you could take it out of this movie and put it in that movie, it wouldn't make a difference. Okay, I'm just saying, we've discussed this. I have discussed this with myself, who I'm looking at. Nobody's watching this. But this right here,
All the movies that The Matrix is the mother of, now they all shoot in the green box. The thing that we did 20 years ago, they all do now, and that's kind of why they all look exactly the same. So I think...
And I said at the time that I've only seen this movie once in the theater. And I said that the complaint everybody else had about the action, I liked the action in Resurrections better. Like I said, I like originality. I don't like to see the same shit all the time. Just saying. It's funny. I'm watching this, I'm like, yeah, I like this movie, but I couldn't hang around with these people. You know, when you watch like Lord of the Rings and stuff, you're like, oh, you can be bros. You're gonna talk about all complicated stuff instead of just how to make people big and little. Should I keep saying what I'm watching? This is now Neo, Trinity, Return to the Matrix. This looks like this might be some of the press stuff. Yeah, learn by doing is something I didn't know you could do until I was too old to learn anymore.
Like I like long takes.
I mean, I would say she did less.
So a while back I was desperate to have like philosophical discussions with other human beings. At this point, I think I'm too far gone. Just hearing people, you know, philosophize a little bit, it's like, no.
There she is.
I can't do it. And you know I said philosophize, and you know why. You know why. I never stopped saying Socrates either.
And then she lived, but it was never all of it.
All the best movies are love stories, whether people realize it or not. Like I said, Lord of the Rings, Rocky, these are my favorite movies. Don't tell me they're not love stories. People just don't pay attention. I mean, True Lies is my favorite action movie. What's that story about?
Oh, wow. Right.
About a problem the guy's having with his wife.
What she had told me.
See, I like that crap. That's why I like watching behind the scenes stuff where everybody's crying and they all love each other and they're so sad that the movie's over.
Hard goodbye.
I'm an idiot.
Yeah.
Because in my life, nobody's ever sad to see me go. And I've gone a lot. It's romantic love. What's he talking about? I've gone a lot to test it. Nobody gives a shit when I'm gone.
Right? Yeah. Want to wake up.
I did it again where I was talking when the thing was, I don't know what I just said. The point is, I was a little bit perturbed by the, you know, love is love. This says Allies and Adversaries, The Matrix Remix. Now this is where a bunch of my interpretation came in, where everybody started being like amalgam pieces of the other characters from before. Let's see. Like I said, as a fan of the other movies the Wachowskis have done, like Cloud Atlas, and, you know, Sense8 wasn't a movie, but, you know, so seeing even those guys, the Sense8 guys and stuff, I just feel like if he hadn't gone along with all the other stuff, maybe it was a problem for you. But
and hearing the voice and hearing him say the dialogue, it was such a...
I know I just watched Jessica Henwick in something else, and she's in something before that. It's just the blue hair throws me off.
She's having the pinch me fan moment.
I'm just wondering if I'm going to be able to keep my interpretations now. And I keep hitting the button in the wrong time, so this might not work out at all. Go.
More characters who are on a journey of self-discovery along with Neo. Morpheus is also on a journey to figure out who he is. be able to play a character who can inhabit different bodies and different forms and different worlds. Welcome to the crib. It's very exciting, oftentimes confusing.
Like I said, I liked him since the Get Down.
But I know that I'm in good hands.
We have a complex character called Exomorph.
I just thought that was
He
nanobots
so
because
iconic.
I don't know anything.
To step in, and it's been a very
So I think
surreal
everything is
experience for me.
nanobots.
You call this a choice?
Getting to offer the pills was
Yeah, so this Jessica's pretty cool. She's totally fangirling over the whole thing.
Yeah, I got sitting down in the
Pretty
seat.
cool.
And
Yeah, I mean, I like Neil Patrick Harris as much as
Because
everybody
I
else does,
really
but he
don't
just
want
seemed weird here.
my
I don't know.
presence in the first part of the movie.
Yeah, see that Garmon Bozia? The worse we treat you, the more energy you produce. Garmon Bozia.
So you could
I would actually like the explanation for this other thing that wasn't bullet time, but seemed like it. Sort of. Because I feel like there's an explanation
It
there.
feels incredible to be Agent
Like
Smith.
it's some other kind of
And I've thought
time
about the kind
slip
of parallels
thing.
of the new relationship of
Or,
Smith,
like,
old Smith and the new
in
Smith.
and out of the
It's a
Matrix
new
thing.
code.
Yeah, I
Smith
think Jonathan
because
Groff was fine.
I've never done an action movie
And
in my
his
life.
character also is not just Smith. But tell you what, I kind of didn't understand Sati in this. I understood her as a little girl, but in this it was kind of like,
the fact that Sati's character was carried through the
well, I like that the younger actors were so excited about it.
It's a deep
And
honor
it's
to
not
be
in
a
that
part of
obnoxious
it.
way
To
that
get to
Star
sit
Wars younger
and
actors,
observe
or
would be
Palo
a dream
Santo,
for any
I'm not
movie.
on
To get to
fire.
participate in
It's not
That's-
obnoxious the
it's
way
been a
younger
crazy
Star
gift.
Wars fans
I took
coming
the
into
red
Star
pill.
Wars
I'm
movies
glad I
are.
made that
It's
choice.
kind of cool. Okay, this next piece is called Matrix for Life. I'm gonna guess that has to do with the premiere and stuff. And everybody coming back. Or maybe not, because there's one after that. This is I Still Know Kung Fu. We'll see. See, like, during quarantine, like, my favorite thing that happened was when the Lord of the Rings people got together and did that
Energy
Zoom.
there.
I like this reunion-y stuff, even though I'm not really part of it.
Young filmmaker,
I just like it.
full of all
I can't believe I'm the only person who always assumed there'd be another Matrix
wanted
movie.
to come along on this project.
Wait a minute, this is some kind of philosophy about people bringing you a lot of pain. That's how you make friends? Oh, that's I don't have any friends. Because anybody who does anything, like, get the fuck out of here. I actually know that's true. See, when I watch this and, like, I feel bad that the movie had supposedly such a bad reception. I don't know what the hell's wrong with people. Because, I don't know. I got it. I got the whole thing of it and it being like a family reunion for these people, and I thought that was nice. Whether you like the movie or not, but I really liked the movie. And I felt bad when it didn't do well. Because nobody wants that. They're just trying to entertain you and make you happy. You have to complain about every damn thing. Just because you don't get it. I think this is the last of the special features part. It's called I Still Know Kung Fu.
Matrix.
I never knew Kung Fu. I mean, I could probably kick somebody. But not with any kind of style. I think I recognize this guy Jonathan from like John Wick and stuff behind the scenes.
on the rooftop where Yahya and
I think he
looked
does
at each
the
other, and
some of the fight
we couldn't say
choreography.
anything because there were two helicopters.
That's what I'm saying. I don't understand what
in the
people
middle of the
wanted.
night.
They know
were
what they're
so
doing.
close
If you
to
don't
all
like
these
it, that's because you
skyscrapers,
just want to
and you
see
could
the
just
same
see
exact
Lana's
thing.
bright neon dreadlocks.
I was wondering if we were going to make it through without anybody saying how old Keanu is. Nope.
So
The fact is, Keanu ran like an old man from the beginning, so it's not like he really moves that different.
Kung fu fight.
Yeah, Keanu's a workaholic.
Work ethic is pretty much second to none. So when you see him, it's
I'm gonna say this here because nobody's
When I
watching this
first
anyway.
walked
Okay,
in, I
so
clocked
this is
Keanu,
March
you know,
18th. So
in
the
his,
other
like,
day,
jujitsu
let me just
outfit.
pause this.
I was like,
The other day, William Hurt died, right? And in the 80s, he was in everything. So when I was growing up, so it's just like he was just a big actor, even though he wasn't like that kind of a big actor. He was just in everything. And the movie I liked him in the best was the movie that I liked Keanu the most in at the time. Like, this is like when I was in high school. It was I Love You to Death, right? So because William Hurt died, I said, let me rewatch Dark City, which I had liked better than The Matrix. And I saw it first, so I kind of was like, on the first Matrix movie because I like Dark City, but also I got I Love You to Death out of the library. Let me tell you something. That movie, the Keanu and him in that movie are so funny. If you never saw I Love You to Death, you gotta watch that movie. But yeah, I don't know where I was going with that. I was looking at him and then I thought of the whole thing, and then I thought of just watching it a couple days ago. So funny.
So
I just remember what I was gonna say.
expressive
And this
as
is
a
like,
fighter.
don't anybody who is involved in this watch this, because I don't want anybody to get upset. River Phoenix was in it too, right? So they were good friends back in the day. So it was just like, I was wondering if maybe, you know, because of back then, if after all those things that happened, he didn't just, you know, pour himself into his work, and that's why he's such a hard worker, and, you know, he's the way he is now, which is none of my business. And I don't know why I do these things. Let me shut up. I don't know what this Matrix reactions thing is. It's got like 3 lines. I don't know what that means. Instead of a clapboard. It's a whole bunch of stuff. It says play all. It's a bunch of things. What? Actually, I'm glad that there's a lot on here, because I've been complaining about how Blu-rays don't have anything anymore almost.
Mock-up of a scene in a
Oh,
game.
what is this?
Thomas has this. He's made this game.
I don't even
He's
know.
created this other insular
I'm confused.
world where he's basically.
Okay, so they're actually explaining it. This is what I mean. I don't think I was that far off. Yeah, I was. You know what I mean? But it's sad. People should just watch the damn movie. See, he said this world hasn't been passive over the last 20 years. That's what I was saying. I was saying stuff happened off camera. And you have to allow for that when you're picking up something. It's supposed to be 60 years later. Spoilers. But you know what I mean? Okay, so I'm just going to watch this. I'm not going to comment on this anymore. I talked long enough. It's 22 minutes. When I watch the actual movie, maybe I'll talk some more. But I want to just let this go. Because you watch the damn... watch the extras. Because they're basically going to explain the whole thing. But I will say one thing. I know it was a video game. And I know that he was a video game designer. And he made it off of his life and stuff like that. But I also felt like blue-haired lady and the rest of them, like, they knew it's a video game, but they also knew that it happened. So apart from knowing it as a video game, I felt like they also had some kind of history of it. You know what I mean? Like, alright, you know how there's, like, say something in our time that's supposed to be mysterious or something, like Area 51, or, you know, any kind of alien stuff, or Loch Ness Monster, or you know how there's a history of people talking about things and investigating things, and they found this over here, and you know what I mean? So there's like what you're supposed to know about, and then there's all this other stuff where people who really get into things will know about, you know, cover-ups and, you know, that kind of stuff. So to me, Bugs and her group there, they were students of everything that happened. Yeah, they played the game, but they also must have been digging up, trying to find out somehow what happened here. I don't know how they would. But again, 60 years went by. So it could have been legends. People could have said stuff. You know, Niobe could have told people a while back, and she's just old and pissed now. But you know what I mean? It wasn't, to me, it wasn't just like, because remember then that was being projected on the curtains and stuff, like a movie? It kind of seemed to me like it wasn't just a video game. That they understood that, like, it wasn't just a video game within the Matrix. Like, they also understood that it was, like, it happened within the Matrix itself, like a hidden history, like Atlantis or some shit, Lemuria, you know, lost civilization crap. I don't know what I'm saying anymore, but you know what I mean. Like, those people weren't just like, oh yeah, you made the video game, right? But you based it on like a real person. Like, they knew that stuff somehow. I'm sorry, I love this behind the scenes stuff. I hate that so many things don't have this. I'm really happy it's on here. Wish I owned it. but
It's
you
real
know,
cool to get in there and get behind the weapon and be powerful and have those really heroic
super
moments
cool.
that the Matrix is known for.
I actually don't want to get to like cyborg stuff in real life, so I'm not a fan of the whole machines and humans being like living together and shit. Because I don't want the next natural progression.
People, once they left
That's
Zion,
why I need to
were
go.
looking to have a peaceful relationship with
Okay.
vegetables,
Jada said
fruits, and
the future in
products they can eat,
scarcity.
so they don't
I'm on board with that. Let's
eat
go.
that gunk that they were-
That's what I said. Priyanka just said it. Our consciousness creates the reality. That's what I was trying to say the whole time. That that's what it's supposed to be since Revolutions ended. Shut up. So if you go in thinking that, because like I said, that had to be what would happen next after Revolutions. That's what I always thought. Then I go into the movie, this movie, thinking that, co-creating. It's what I said. Co-creating with Source, right? Co-creating with God. That's what I said. Here's my thing about real life, okay? My opinion, this is why I'm wrong, this is why I need to die. My thinking is that technology and the way it's gone, especially in the last little while, it's not here to save us. We may have been confused by that over time and thought, well, maybe it is. But I think we can see how much horribleness it's caused, especially in the last, I don't know, month. So my thinking all along, over the last, I don't know, 5 years or so, is that we need to go back. We need to, like, smartphones made our lives miserable. Everything made our lives miserable. So if we want to be happy again ever, we should pull back and just gradually let go of technology and get, not back to nature, like not the emerald forest, you know what I mean, but just pull it back so it doesn't rule us. But to me, when they're equal, that's too much. So that's why, for me, in my opinion, my philosophy about life, and which is clearly not how the world's going to go and why I need to be done, is because I would have said, okay, let's pull back. You know, we were better off when there were payphones. We were better off, like, when people watch Stranger Things. Even kids who watch Stranger Things who've never lived that. That was my time of being a little kid in the 80s. Kids who watch it now are like, oh, I wish it was like that. It looks like so much fun. Yeah, because you didn't have fucking phones and the internet. You know, you didn't have a computer in your damn hand all day. So we're not going to get rid of everything. We don't have to go, like I said, live in a forest. But, you know, the reason I like things like Lord of the Rings is like Rivendell and living up in a tree, but not without magic. Yeah, anyway. So yes, magic, technology, no. See, I like to fight with the exiles.
What happens to a program when they become self-aware? And
you know what I'm realizing? Too much slow-mo. That's what kind of screwed up the
beautiful kind of like
that fight scene for people. Because I liked it, but now I'm looking at it and I'm like watching them rehearse in normal time. I'm like, oh, it looks better.
What I grew up with, just like anything else, it has
My big problem with Sense8 was too many slow-mo montages. When did everybody start saying cinema instead of just cinema? Cinema. I've been hearing that too much lately. I'm sure that's how you're supposed to say it, like in France or Italy or whatever, but we've been saying cinema for decades. Okay, this is what I was talking about. Bullet time that's not bullet time. Yeah, time isn't real.
I don't think I've ever seen.
Okay, they use different frame rates. I knew there was something! Oh, this is really interesting, and I don't understand it, and I'd have to watch them explain this about 4,000 times. That's super interesting. The two cameras, all this, yeah. I'm just getting more and more aggravated that people shit all over this movie. No respect.
San Francisco.
How are we gonna pull this off without people getting smushed?
You know, the who's who. All these legendary stuff.
That's really funny.
You want to be on Matrix for a week? You know,
I think that's cool.
Nobody's gonna say no.
See, I want everybody who supposedly hated this movie and didn't even like the swarm part to watch this and then still act like they think they know what to talk about. 'Cause I thought it was super cool, and now it's seeing how they did it.
You know, we're like, you know, shooting pistols out.
I mean, you could tell it was a lot,
To do this? Are you kidding me?
but it was really a lot. I'm not a motorcycle enthusiast. I don't know anything about them, so this part gets lost on me. I'm sitting here watching this and I said to myself, I bet you Christopher Nolan watched this twice. There is no way I would have jumped off that building. Ever. And I wouldn't jump from 50 feet either.
We did that a number of
These people were really excited to try to kill Keanu
A
Reeves.
lot of folks didn't want Carrie.
Really?
Carrie Moss is a crazy person. Do I think people who bungee jump are crazy? Yeah. Do I think people who parachute out of a plane? No, because they have a parachute. It's still weird and dangerous, but... Okay, so that's the end of the special features. I think. Yeah. I think. Yeah. So, okay, so what had happened was I fell asleep and I didn't even end up, I watched like not even an hour of the movie. So I'm just gonna watch the whole thing now, and then I'm gonna say what I had, whatever thoughts I had, because why not? Because this is like really the second time I'm watching it. I watched a lot of clips on YouTube and stuff over time, but you know, but remember, I loved it, so this is me rewatching it after having watched all the special features. Because I was thinking about this yesterday. This is violence in some language, and it was rated R. I don't think I knew that it was rated R. I would have assumed PG-13. I don't remember any language. Now the logo, see, it's cool that they stayed with that, but it also looks better. I think everything looked better. It had more color, it was more vibrant, and then I guess people didn't like this because they wanted everything to still be green. There's nothing wrong with green, but anyways. What do you call that crap? DOS? Whatever you used to call it? Why does it still have that? I don't know things. I'm not a computer programmer, so for the people who got all into that.
Did you hear that? I think our signal was tracing it.
Would you, I mean, anyways, the whole beginning parts with this other thing, like I said, I felt like besides the, it's a computer game, but computer games don't look like that. So for me, it was kind of like, they don't look like them. So how do these people know? Like, especially with the idea, and spoilers obviously, especially the idea of Trinity Tiffany, like how would they know that? That's why I felt like there had to be like, there's got to be a whole bunch of shit that happened in 60 years, and like I said, lore and legend and people, you know, hearing stories and investigating and, you know, like investigative reports or, you know, unsolved mystery shit that made people know what really happened that inspired the game. You know what I mean? I feel like that is in there. Maybe I made that up, but I feel like it's in there. She said, I know the story. This is how it all began. Why make old code? Why use old code to make something new? This is what I'm saying. They're investigating something. They're not in a game, are they? So how they're hacking into it, but what? Because it doesn't. See, it's not the story we think it is. This is what I'm saying. These words are important. I know, I talk too much over it. thing is, there can't just be, there's got to be, all right, there were different versions in the Matrix, right? This is what I'm saying. So that's why I thought Neo was a clone, this Neo, because if you think about it, if there had been Neos before, there had to be clones or something. Why would the machines, when they were making batteries, not make them out of clones? Not just, oh, here's a person and here's another person. Let's not clone it, because why would we have that technology in the future where we could do all this other shit and make people batteries? So for me, there had to be clones. That's why I think Neo's a clone. That's why he looks so much younger than Niobe. That's my theory. Nothing to disprove that so far. I'm sticking with it. And then, because the architect had told us before that there were different versions of the Matrix, and I think at one point they even said the Merovingian had been something like Neo. This is what I'm saying. So there have to have been at least an version of the Matrix since we, the audience, left, because it's been 60 years. So that's why I thought maybe Neo did co-create. My theory at the end of Revolutions was that Neo would be able to co-create with Source now, and he kind of become one with Source, and he could, you know, create the universe on the fly. And it all would be good. But something went wrong. That's why we now have Neil Patrick Harris. Because something went wrong. And Niobe was pissed at Neo. And I think he screwed up somehow. And that happened between 3 and 4. In my opinion. But yeah, so these people are trying to figure it out. He's on the pills. This is what I'm saying. So for me, in all that time, just like you watch Game of Thrones, and then they have the histories and lore thingies, right? So there's extras. Mailman. So things happened in between that we don't know about still, and you have to go with that. And maybe people don't want to go with that. But for me, there's a lot of mystery here if you're the kind of person who likes that stuff. If you're not, and you just don't understand, and you get pissed that you don't understand, yeah, okay, I like not knowing what's going on. Because out of everybody, when this movie starts, it's Neo that doesn't know what the hell's going on, Thomas. And he's been taking these drugs, these blue pills, who knows, maybe all his life in this incarnation. If he is a clone. If he's not a clone, then he's been taking them for a long time. After Trinity died, which would be 20 years. So 20 years of taking them pills, his brain's fucked up. I basically never completely understood what Bugs was up to. I didn't trust her. That was my overwhelming feeling. I didn't trust her. Because she pulled Neo back. Thomas. Whatever his name is. That guy. I got it wrong because I got it confused with Inception, and I thought that if he jumped, even if he fell, it'd be fine. He'd just wake up. I forgot. If you die, you die. Okay, a modal is a simulation used to evolve programs. I don't know what that means. So, this is like in the first one where he had him in the chair and he was teaching him kung fu and stuff. Right? So this isn't really real. But why are they acting like they don't belong there? Like this was something. Why would you evolve an old program? Okay. Is that like copy pasta? Like, okay, here's the old Matrix, let me copy that into the game that we're having Thomas create, or Thomas is creating, but he's also blue pilling himself. This is what I'm saying. The way I saw, unless something went really way worse wrong, Neo has to be doing everything. He has to be doing this, but also drugging himself, which I feel like Neo had to have screwed up somehow that Neil Patrick Harris came along. Like, I don't even know what you call it, like a malware thing, or like a, this is why I'm not good at computers, but that's why I like the mythology part. But you know what I'm saying? Neo has to be doing this. He has to be trying to wake himself up. Because to me, he should have been in charge. Not the head honcho, but the co-head honcho. So he should have been, I don't know why I just wanted to say in CMA, like I speak different languages. He had to be like with source, with, like he would have been the new architect. But he had to have screwed up somewhere. So that to me is what the blue pills are about. Him being sad that he screwed up, because he should have been able, yeah, okay, Trinity's dead. He doesn't want to remember that. But you wouldn't, if you got the power to do everything and fix everything, and she died so that you could, you know, make peace with the machines and stuff, and you wouldn't be like, okay, now I'm just gonna be brain dead. I'm going to drug myself into a stupor. No, something happened before that. So I feel like he had the ability to do everything, and then he screwed it up. Has to, because I can't let go of the idea that Neo had to be in charge. Because again, in my opinion, he didn't die. Because death isn't death. Death isn't death. Not just in the Matrix. You know what I mean? You're not dead once you die. I don't think people are dead. They become something else. Yeah. See, this almost look like a museum to me. You know? And I feel like it's not by accident. This seems like a museum
Thomas a long time ago, but maybe you know him by his
thing. Like, you know, like, okay. Like if you go to almost like a reenactment thing, like if you go to one of the Civil War thingies and everybody's dressed up like olden time soldiers and stuff, so that people can come and pay admission and go through, and then like, you know, like they'll have like videos and stuff of, oh, this is what happened. That's what this whole thing seemed like to me. So yeah, it's supposed to be in the game, but it has that sense of being like somewhere you could go and tour, and this is what had happened. This is the past, and this is an immersive experience. Because the projections on the wall were from the old movie. Then you have these people in the beginning who look nothing like them. So to me, when they're explaining Neo later on and all this stuff and these people, there's something of it that it's part of history. It's not just, oh, here's this game. It's part of history somewhere that's either taught or commemorated. Do you understand what I mean? So I don't think what happened in the movies, which should be the past in here, I don't think that was wiped away somewhere. Because you can have what Keanu Reeves, I'm not calling him Neo or Thomas, what he's doing with Neil Patrick Harris, all that shit. That's a new Matrix. Do you know what I'm saying? So in between, there could have been another Matrix, like I'm saying, where they acknowledged everything that went on and stuff like that. And like it was like they're saying like how you have memorials and, you know, places that where you go and you, like I said, you watch the thing and they tell kids who weren't alive, come and they watch a video and they, you know, like it was saved to be, you know, and it wasn't a problem, and it was, but then something got screwed up, and that's where Neil Patrick Harris comes in, and that's why to me this is like there had to been an iteration of the Matrix in between. That's my opinion. That's my opinion. I could be 100% wrong, and everybody can explain to me why I'm wrong. Anybody wants to explain to me anything ever, go right ahead, 'cause I know I'm dumb. But for me, if those people or the game was just supposed to be it and all that stuff like that, we wouldn't see Lawrence Fishburne. We wouldn't see, you know, we wouldn't see their images projected on the wall. We wouldn't see that old stuff. Because she's saying it too. You know what I mean? It's not just like, there's parts that are just like, what do you want to call it? Like little flashback clips while, you know, Keanu was talking to MPH. Or like when he's talking to the other one, Jonathan Groff, and then, you know, there's a flash of Smith and stuff like that. That to me, I'm not looking at that as a viewer and saying, oh, that's for people who didn't watch the movies. I'm thinking that's a flashback moment for, like in Lost. Remember in Lost when they would have a flashback and they would think about their former life? That's all that is. It's quick, but you know, it's also helping you know that, okay, this guy, he Neo, Thomas, Keanu is recognizing Smith's situation in Jonathan Groff, right? I'm gonna go back to watching this. But this whole thing, like I said, this looks like she's going through this like what looks like a museum to me, with the computer and the floppy disk and all that. You know what I mean? That to me is like, there was a point in time where the, like if you know, you have World War II museum and everybody's like, yeah, there was all this bad stuff, but this is what happened. And in the World War II museum they'll have like, you know, maybe they'll have something that upsets people, or they'll have something that you'd be like, why is that there? If you didn't know what you were talking about, you know what I mean? Maybe they'd have Nazi uniform or something like that. I don't know that they do, but you get the idea. I don't go to museums. See, this is what gets me. And when she's explaining to so-called Morpheus about how she was a window washer, and then it's supposed to be Neo up there going to jump, he's bald and he doesn't look like Neo. It could be James McTeague? I don't know why, but anyway, when he's walking to the edge, and then when he turns around and looks at her, it's Keanu. That's not an accident. And like I said, this girl's young, and she's talking about it like it's a distant past. So there's a lot of stuff going on here. If people wanted to take the time to figure it out, if they cared, maybe people don't care anymore. People just, I think it is different. 20 years on, I think people want everything spoon-fed to them, and they don't want to, yeah, people suck. But for me, there's a lot here. He said repeating loops. He said repeating loops.
Like you said.
But he's a sentient, and he said about her being a sentient, so they wouldn't age.
I knew who I was.
Right? See, so why does she know all about who Morpheus is so bad? Did he die recently?
This is where you belong.
I don't think so.
You call this?
Like, I mean, she jumped on him and hugged him like, oh my god.
And the woman with
That's
the toast.
significant.
Point.
Choice is an illusion. Makes me so happy that they said that. I didn't play the games and stuff, by the way. I'm not a gamer. So this guy, his annoying friend, he reminds me of, I know he's a control thing. He reminds me of, in the Truman Show, when every time there was a problem, they sent the friend with the, 6-pack of beer. And also in, I think it was Vanilla Sky, there was like a control thing. Guy who would show up. Yeah, that's what he reminds me of. But I know, like, even Chad, Trinity's husband, Tiffany's husband, is a control thing. They just show up to, like, you know, fix everything. But I don't feel like Neil Patrick Harris is in charge. That's what I'm saying. I mean, he's not the architect, as far as I'm concerned. I mean, from what I understand, with the swarm, anybody can really be weaponized, right?
Excuse me. Hi. I know that.
See, the minute they shake hands, and it's just like, do we know each other? Next thing you know, Chad's there.
This is my husband, Chad.
Then again, Jude was trying to get him. Like, he wouldn't have gone over and talked to her by himself.
Sorry.
His name is Jude. Which, you know?
Billions of people who just.
To me, this whole thing is Neo trying to wake himself up.
Every time I see it.
Okay, and on first watch, I totally didn't notice that Smith bust in the corner was like, you know, that with his face squished. I only saw that on the special features. See, on first watch, also, I saw the Jonathan Groff character as, you know, another half Smith, but he's also wanting Neo to wake up. Like, he's fighting him and shit, but he's actually on his side. Do you know what I mean? It is interesting, though, that he's sitting in, like, an emperor type chair. That could mean something. It could just be coincidence. It could just be a nice chair. Okay. He's supposing that he lives in a computer-generated reality that imprisoned him again. For me, he would have imprisoned himself again. Maybe in the in-between, in this, in my theory of another iteration of the Matrix, he went bananas and messed everything up so bad that he guiltified himself and imprisoned himself again, and he just relegated himself to being a game designer. And that's how he can create safely instead of actually creating the Matrix, because he just screwed up so bad. My theory. So here's where I'm going. I keep. So if he, follow me, if he co-created the new Matrix or whatever and screwed it up so bad, and now he imprisoned himself, right, and he's been blue pilling himself, to me, MPH would be the security, the fail-safe that he created to watch him because he didn't trust himself. But this fail-safe dude became evil, and that's why he now has to wake up. And you know what I'm saying? Because he gave his power away. Because he felt like he couldn't handle it. I made all that up, but that's my theory. Okay, the old Neo in the mirror. Now, this is a sticking point for me in my Fakakta theory, because that could be how old he really is, but how old he really is what comes out of the pot. So that's how people see him. That's still not as old as Niobe. Get what I'm meaning? So maybe this mirror guy is what a 60-year-old should look like to people, and that's why when people see Anderson, they see this older looking dude. Anyway, the point is, yeah. To me, if everything went wrong, if Neo screwed up and everything went wrong, and he reset it, he reset things, yeah, he'd have to be a clone, and that could be how old the clone is supposed to be. So, because I can't get past the fact that Jada Pinkett and Keanu Reeves are kind of the same age. Okay, Lawrence Fishburne was a little bit older, not that much, but a little bit older. That's why, out of the real people, Niobe's still there, but Morpheus has passed away because he'd be like 100. Niobe should be somewhere like late 80s, 90. Because let's say these people were all 30 when they made the Matrix. Plus 60, you know what I'm saying? So if Neo, Thomas, whatever you want to call him, had really gone through 60 years, it wasn't 60 years since birth, it would be 60 years plus 30 if they took his corpse and reanimated it. He'd look 90. Even the mirror guy doesn't look 90. So he's got to be a clone. That's why I'm saying he's a clone. Because he doesn't look the same age. Because Jada Pinkett Smith and Keanu Reeves in this movie do not look the same age. That's where I'm coming from with that. As much as this song is perfect for this movie, I still see Benicio sitting in a bathtub with oranges. Anyway, we need guns, lots of guns, right? Jude says it. That's from the original. But also, it was also in John Wick. And see, I never got over the idea that John Wick 4 and Matrix 4 were supposed to come out on the same day originally. And when the trailers and stuff were out for this movie, I thought maybe in the new Matrix, the new iteration of the Matrix, or whatever it was, just from looking at the, the trailers and the clips and stuff, I thought maybe in this movie, Neo was going to be Keanu Reeves, who was an actor, who was in all these movies, like John Wick. But that didn't happen. But anyway, yeah. So, that quote went there and back again. Why do I feel like there's something with these coffee cups?
I pay my analyst a lot
I
of
don't
money to
know.
answer such questions for me.
I gotta admit, I do take issue with Neo Thomas hitting on somebody's wife. It's a problem.
No, never had.
It's basically a date.
Right, I knew that.
I also feel like Trinity's dialogue, or Tiffany's dialogue here, it's kind of presumptuous. Like, obviously this character's about me. Conceited. And why would you want to break someone's jaw off?
Yeah.
The reflection was old in the table. I didn't notice that before. Okay, so neither of their reflections, granted these two people are old enough, but neither of their reflections look like it aged up Keanu Reeves or an aged up Carrie-Anne Moss. These are different people. Yeah, I paused it to make sure that's not her face with old makeup on. It's some other lady. And I'm sure other people have figured all this crap out before. I'm just me doing my thing, talking about movies. And if I'm wrong and stupid, I don't care. I've been wrong with Super for a long time. I like how they included all the people from before in this, in like little cameos, like the VFX guys and everything. I could have gone with another take right there with that stuttering stuff. See, there he had to remember his smithness, but they all have smithness. So I don't know what the cat means here. Cat meant Witch of the Matrix before, but see, the funny time thing is happening right here as NPH shows up. Like, you really notice it later in that scene in the garage, but it's here. So it's like he overrides shit. Thought the cat's name was Deja Vu. Deja Vu. Was I wrong or was I not wrong? If he jumped and he died, would he die? I really don't remember how it works.
You won't remember me.
But I didn't like that she pulled him back because I felt like he needed to do that.
When you looked off another roof.
So what happened when he jumped off that roof? Did somebody catch him?
And I saw you. It was a different
Like I said, that don't look like
but I saw.
And it doesn't look like the old version either.
Just a second.
Wait, you never fell. So then why did you pull him back? You know what?
He's not your friend, he's a
But he created the swarm, right? That's why he was looking at the bird swarm.
Because if they open that door, we lose
He created all of it as far as I'm concerned.
I will be called.
Yeah, I still don't trust her. I know it's wrong, but I still don't trust her. Why do I not trust somebody when I saw the whole movie? Because there could always be another movie. We could be misunderstanding this. It's weird. I remember this. I have a lot of memory issues, but I remember this movie very well, having only seen it the one time. Games don't have footage.
You gotta see it to believe it.
I don't know.
Time to fly.
That's what I'm saying. Since it happened, you know what I mean.
But if it did,
I don't know what a DSI is. Yeah, so she's telling him like she got backs, but there's so much she doesn't know. This is what I'm saying.
no one found you because you didn't want to be found.
You can't make a game that happened.
Maybe it isn't.
You can make a simulation, which is what the people in the beginning look like, because they look different.
From the beginning.
Morpheus, stop.
So what they're projecting on the wall can't be footage from his game. That's what I'm saying. It happened. Footage from his game would be people that were created
If you are where you belong,
from his memory.
go back to this every day.
Tiffany.
Over.
Not Tiffany. I mean, Trinity. The Trinity in the beginning. You know what I mean? How she didn't look like her? That. So that imagery of Lawrence Fishburne from the movie and Keanu when he was way younger, that was a clip from the movie projected on the wall. Can't be the game. Go ahead, tell me I'm stupid. Yeah, you want to talk about memories? I can't remember the names of these guys from Sense8. I've looked it up a bunch of times. I've watched them on the special features and the extras and stuff. I can't remember their real names. Yeah, see how they find us. She doesn't understand. Neo is the Matrix.
Thomas,
To me, he made,
this is not a game. Feel my hand.
you know,
This is what is real.
NPH is like a babysitter for him. I think the reason people don't like the way this scene looks is because of natural light. Because it seems like in movies where they use natural light and CGI, it looks stupid. Now see that time thingy, that frames per second thing just happened, and Neil Patrick Harris ain't there. All right, so making the mirror bigger woke him up. How would falling not have done the same thing? I don't know. See this real body coming out of the goop. Looks like Keanu Reeves' age because it's Keanu Reeves. So that's not 90-year-old. And I don't care if he was in the goop. He wasn't in the goop for all that time. He would have been in the goop for 60 years. So if it was preserving him, he would have looked 30. See, that's history. That's like a recording of history. That's not the freaking game.
Turned into fiction any less real.
But they're saying it's the game. This, I believe, is a mistake. It could just be history. I'm not saying it. I'm not correcting the movie, but I am. You don't need it to be the game. It can be the game
reflection of two forces
And
that
history.
help you become you.
Okay, whatever.
Morpheus.
It could be two versions. The history version, which he's watching right now, where we're seeing Lawrence Fishburne. And then the game version, which has those other people who don't look like them in it from the beginning. They taught you good.
Their world was all you deserved. But some part of you knew that was a lie.
It just makes more sense to me if Neo was creating this. And these younger folks, you see, you don't know me. Yeah, they don't. That's what I'm saying. They're either guesstimating because they're younger and they read some shit or watched some shit or believe some shit. Or if that's supposed to be Morpheus's, if Morpheus's consciousness was somehow downloaded before he died, and that's what it's supposed to be, and he is now a sentient of thingy of Morpheus, then he's supposed to know all this shit, and he's supposed to know for sure. And I can't tell which one it's supposed to be. I just feel like, yeah, I got the window open. Yeah. Let's see what happens with the rest of the movie. I feel like if right now Yahya Abdul-Mateen is just supposed to be a new body for Morpheus, which I didn't think it was. I thought it was a mixture of a few people because, you know, like everybody gets put back in the stew and then they come out different. Because I even watching the old movies, I'm going by spirit stuff. I'm not really trying to go by computer stuff and practical crap. I was going by magic. Okay, so let's see how let me see if once I've done watching this a second time, if I think that is totally Morpheus's brain downloaded, saved somewhere, and put into this new body, which isn't. It was those nanobot things. This is what I'm saying. Or if this is the Matrix, not the Matrix, Source plus Neo recreating a Morpheus type program to awaken the sleeper.
I know you.
I'm trying to figure out if I am wrong.
I know it's why you're here.
And everybody who said they made this bad on purpose was right. I'm trying to prove to myself that yeah, I am stupid and everybody else was right and this is a bad movie and my interpretation, which I liked very much, couldn't actually work. See, now that is spirit stuff. And everything he does when he goes, that's personal power, which Neo has in spades. See? That's what made him the one, which is one half of the one. Because him and Trinity are the one together. If this plug is real, that means they took my life and turned it into a video game. I think he took his life and turned it into a video game.
If we don't know what's real.
He turned it into something trivial because he couldn't take it. That's how I see it. I am not discounting what happened at the end of the revolutions. That's what I'm saying. So if it was, they just, oh, it's all the machines did this, the machines, they, whoever the hell they is, they took my life and turned it into a game. If it was they and Neo had no part, then Neo did die, and he, like, what deal did he make with the Matrix and stuff like that? I mean, with the Deus Ex Machina was Source, and Neo died, like his body went, but his shiny yellowness became one with Source. This is why I said Neo didn't die. Yeah, his body crapped out, but he went into his Neo-ness, went into the Matrix. That's why he made a deal with the machines or whatever. See what I mean? So he didn't die because nothing ever dies. That's how I'm seeing it. But if it's really that, oh no, he died, but the machines took his life and made a video game out of it, and they kept him in storage while after refurbishing him. That's a long, convoluted way to have it make less sense and be less cool. Could be. But then I would have another Donnie Darko situation where I saw it from all the spirit angle. And then my problem with Donnie Darko was when I watched the commentary, they were explaining the stupid metal touches water. And I was like, what? I might not like this movie at the end. If it really turns out that. Because you have to say, okay, Neo didn't join with the source at the end of Revolutions, which was my interpretation of that. So that would ruin 2 movies for me. That would ruin the whole thing for me. Because for me, Neo was once at the end of Revolutions, I was convinced Neo was going to now create the Matrix in the future, and there would be more movies. But he would be able to co-create because he was now one with the Force. He had ascended in a Jesus kind of way in the Trinity of Father, Son, Holy Spirit. Became, a creator. Which is why in this movie, he's a creator of a video game. But to me, that was what he demoted himself to. My interpretation was that was what he demoted himself to because he must have screwed up so bad. I like my interpretation. If it's really that they just kept him on ice, not ice, but you know what I mean? They somehow refurbished his body, and they refurbished Trinity's body, and they just kept them soaking all this time. And there was no extra Matrix in there, and nothing else went wrong, and somehow this timeline of 60 years, and like I said, they don't look as old as Niobe. They don't look anything like their reflections. All that kind of explanation makes so... I can't even put that together the way I put my Fakakta theory together. I can't make sense out of that. The people, the age gap, and the reflections that look nothing like them. But they're old people. What 60-year-olds are supposed to look like instead of Keanu Reeves and Carrie-Anne Moss, because they look like 60-year-olds to me, but they should look 90. I mean, they could pass it. There are people who've taken care of themselves over time, who are older, who look young, you know what I mean, without plastic surgery and stuff like that. And they still look good. They don't have to have gray hair and be bald and all that stuff. But apart from that, facial features, those reflections aren't old versions of these actors. Whether they look the right age, or they look 60, or they look however old they're supposed to look, that's not Keanu Reeves and Carrie-Anne Moss aged up. And if the corpses of Neo and Trinity from Revolutions were going to be saved, they would have to now be, like I said, 90-year-old corpses. Or bodies that have been reanimated. Or they'd have to look 90, or they'd have to look 30. They can't look 55, whatever the hell these people were when they made this. So, I could be wrong, and my fabulous, awesome interpretation of spiritual magnificence could be wrong. But I like it better. And I won't have to watch this the way I have to watch Donnie Darko, which is basically not. For the record, I love David Lynch movies. I said that before because they're confusing. But also, I don't know what the hell happened in Lost Highway. I've watched that probably, I don't know, a dozen times. I love Mulholland Drive. I have no idea what the fuck that is. I've watched that probably 50 times. Yeah. I don't need an explanation. I really enjoy not knowing. But yeah. See, honestly, we're still all going by her that it's a video game. I don't trust her. Whatever. There was peace, and then there was a purge. This is what I'm saying. Neo had to be part of the peace, and the purge, he had to be part of the purge. She's not old enough to know what happened. She wasn't there. He's old enough to know what happened. And it was so freaking bad that he decided to drug himself and have a fake psychiatrist babysit him so he didn't go and create more shit that screwed up everything. Because Niobe is pissed at him. She's old enough to know, and she's pissed at him, but she didn't tell us why. And how does the Matrix did everything, or the machines did everything, or whatever, and they forced you to make a video game, or they made a video game out of your life, and oh boo hoo hoo, then he'd be a total victim. But Niobe was pissed at him. Whatever. I just think at this point in time, he's been on these drugs for God knows how long, however long he has been in this simulation with him as a game developer. However long that's been, he's been taking these blue pills for that long, so he's dumb as dirt. And he's trying to put two and two together based on not being able to remember and what this chick is telling him. Yeah, see, Berg, the guy from Sense8, he's, like I said, the kind of people who watch all the crap about, you know, Bigfoot and stuff. If he's the neologist and he has a million questions, guess what? They don't know, so what the hell is Bugs telling him? Like, she's a freaking authority on his life. So sick of it. Now, before we get to this point, it could be that Niobe was pissed at him for making the peace in the first place, but that's not the way I interpreted it. So if that's it, and this whole thing is like this, then forget it. I was wrong. Honestly, that looks like that lemonade from Midsummer. Yeah, like I said, I'm like the only person who recognized Thelma somehow. Her character's name's Freya. That's gonna mean something. Because Freya's like a Celtic or one of them kind of thingies. Okay, so basically Niobe hasn't seen him all this time, must have thought he was dead. I mean, Neo. How does that fit any of this? Because does she think if she questioned it and thought he was an imposter, like, oh, they made a clone. See, I can't get over clones. They made a clone and they're sending him to fuck with me. Okay. And then she thought that the Trinity is also an imposter. Okay. But it just seems like, okay, well, you died and then all this shit happened and you didn't exist at all. If the whole time that Morpheus became their fearless leader and all that shit, Neo was just gone, as far as anybody knew, I couldn't come up with an explanation for that, even if they gave it to me, because that would be just like, well, what is Neo? Because if he didn't become one with the Matrix, as I thought he did, or the source or whatever, and he didn't co-create everything, and he wasn't like omnipresent, then why would the machines or the Matrix or whatever just turn him into a video game player and drug him. To me, Neo at the end of Revolution should have been all powerful. Not dead, all powerful, as a god type figure, an ascended master, whatever. This thing, maybe the people that hated it were right if they went with this and he's a victim. But I didn't see it that way. And it's probably because for the last 20 years I assumed that at the end of Revolutions, Neo became like I said, like an ascended master, some kind of spiritual ghost in the machine, deus ex machina type figure. Being the ghost in the machine would be able to control the machine. One with source, like I said, like Luke Skywalker. Everybody hates Last Jedi for the reason I like it, because the same shit happened, I thought, where he became one with the Force. Now I don't know what I think. Yeah, I really like this Max guy from Sense8, Shepard. I like his face. It's a good face. Yeah, real. There's too much real in this for me. See, I thought people giving up and the Matrix winning was because something went wrong, and then Neo, who fucked up, gave up.
Is it true we could fly?
Point is, only Neo knows out of these characters, and Neo don't know. Because he's on drugs. See, she doesn't trust Neo. She thinks he's gonna fuck everything up. I'm eating chocolate. Did I get any on me? I mean, there was no question in my mind about Trinity being dead. She was dead.
Most of us are here because of you.
But he could have rewrote that
They also admit our only chance
as a
to touch
co-creator.
the Stockhouse is for you
Get
to
me?
find your mojo.
There's a warehouse in her garage. Pulls on.
And now she's got those glasses on that the fake Morpheus had on before. With the line through the middle. I don't know. Oh, the Merovingian's coming. I love you so much. But yeah, see, okay. Maybe my interpretation was all wrong, because I really went into the movie with the idea of how it was at the end of the end of Revolution. So maybe I just try to fit this movie into my ideas. And I suppose that before, but I'm starting to think that more and more now, which means maybe this movie's not that great. Every time I pause, the subtitles go away when I resume. I don't know. Yeah, they are talking about the two of them like, oh, he's just Smith and he's just, I don't know. I had it all different in my head. Now I'm starting to see what other people saw. A very basic version.
How'd you find us? We never appreciated our relationship. Now look the end.
See, like, I like...
My duck. They used our bond.
Yeah.
And turned it into a chain. It's so obvious once you see it, right? But this whole altered code update really blew my mind. I still don't know how he did it. You was a bold nerd.
See?
Hilarious. And me. What do you want, Smith?
See, Smith. I don't feel like he's just Smith.
Big dreams.
I need to put grease in my hair. See, he's trying to get rid of the evil analyst too. But now he's acting like he's the architect, which I really thought they were all combination characters. Right, if the Exiles weren't all purged, then he's just so awesome. I can't. See, you stole my life. See, I totally understood this in the theater, now I don't understand it at all. Because I understood what Merv was talking about. I understood the whole thing. I felt like Groff was half good. I'm calling them by their actors' names because I don't feel like they're purely anybody. Yeah, see, me and Merv are about originality. What I'm talking about. Why is he blaming Neo for that? See, if I'm trying to be practical, it don't make sense. See, now those guys were both half Smith, and he just threw him on the floor. Do you get what I'm saying? If you watch this movie like you don't know the other ones, then you see it the way... But if you remember the stuff from 2 and 3, which is what I was doing, it's something else, or it should be something else. But maybe this was a reboot. Because either you have narrators you can't trust, or people in the story telling you shit you can't trust, or you have Neo who doesn't know anything because he's drugged. In the theater, I had much more of a brother feeling about Keanu and Groff, whoever they are. Like, sometimes your rival or nemesis ends up being your best friend in, you know, over decades, like Roger and Rafa.
Ones and zeros, light and dark,
Yin yang.
choice in its absence.
You can't have one without the other. When I first saw this, I thought that Neo was wrong for seeing Smith as an enemy. Spit on them, man.
Forever.
So the idea is that he just made up Tiff to get him for what? Okay, so in the theater, I didn't like this NPH part.
Allow me to sum up
What?
the goal in a single
Yeah, a
word.
single word, please.
Bullet time.
That's not a single word.
Kinda ironic. Using the power to define you to control.
If he's just a
you
pure
so that you
architect again,
Why her? Getting
and everybody's just their pure characters, then this is nothing that I thought it was.
was crazy.
In the theater, I was like, I'm not believing a word he says, because he's evil.
Happy to be
See, because I thought he was more like an Oracle architect hybrid.
here. And you people.
Okay, so if Neo and Trinity were just corpses at the end of Revolutions, then this movie is like Pet Sematary.
You shouldn't call me that. I'm sorry.
That's why I was thinking totally differently, because I told you, I did not think Neo died. Now I'm like, okay, if Neo definitely was a dead corpse thing, and he didn't become one with Source, like I always assumed at the end of the last movie, it was just some guy who died and was dead,
Shepard should have left you to the squids.
and they reanimated them.
Now be done with
That is, like I said, that ruins Revolutions for me. I have to pay attention to what Sati was saying, because I didn't even pay attention to it the first time. I did, but I didn't get it.
It would be you.
Okay, yeah, I was wrong. This movie's stupid. I like my interpretation much better than what actually happened. I just really... People believe what they want to believe. Okay, here's how wrong I was. Okay, I thought at the end of, like I said, the end of Revolutions, Neo became one with Source, and therefore he would be able to co-create with, you know, the Matrix, the Source. So he would be the new architect, in a way. But, so when this movie comes along, and I'm sitting there watching, and I was in the theater, I wasn't distracted at all. I paused this, I went to sleep. I took 2 steps, I slept overnight, and I slept now. I took a nap. I wasn't distracted at all, I was paying attention, but I had the attitude in my head that Neo had never died. In this case, Neo did die. He's a reanimated corpse. So is Trinity. There's no clone. There's no time in between. Nothing happened that they haven't explained. There's no mystery. So, it's just so much worse. Yeah, I thought that all of these, like, Jonathan Groff was playing like a hybrid character. I thought that Yahya Abdul-Mateen was playing a hybrid character. I thought it was possible that they were all, this was another iteration of the Matrix after maybe one had happened in between movies, and therefore none of these characters, maybe even Neo, none of them were purely who they were before. They were all mixed up a little bit, which they should have been, because Smith and Neo sort of, I mean, he took him over. So there should be some Neo in Smith and some Smith in Neo. But that's me carrying over things I believed from the third movie, which I liked a lot. But if those things and all that shit didn't carry over, and it's exactly how these characters are explaining it, then yeah, I understand why people hated it now. But I was coming into it thinking that Neo had become a Christ-like figure, which would make him spirit, which would make him, you know, but this is all computers and shit. There's no, all the mythology that I liked so much in 2 and 3, where, you know, characters were like werewolves and vampires, and people were named, you know, what was her name, Persephone, and there was all that in it. I feel like that must have been thrown away, and I didn't throw it away, and I carried it into this movie, and I was trying to see this movie through that kind of spirit realm lens, and it's just computers and shit. Computers and war and machines and plants. You know, there's no spirit involved. It's code and feelings. I don't know where feelings come from if you don't have all that other stuff that I brought in here. But now I'm like, okay. And the only reason I'm going along with this is because I haven't watched the special features and other, just after I watch the movie, because I don't like to watch a lot of stuff before. Right after I saw the movie, and Lana was saying how her parents died, and then she said, and how Neo and Trinity had died. I was like, they did? So right away I was like, wait a minute, maybe I have it wrong. How they had died in Revolutions, because I knew she died, Trinity. I didn't think Neo died. So that's why I'm wrong, because I was going for a whole mystical type thing that you can do. Like I said, you can do that with Reloaded and Revolutions. That's why I like them much better than the original Matrix, and a lot of people didn't like them. But now I'm kind of like, maybe I was never supposed to do any of that. Maybe there was no spirit part. Maybe, although that religious allegory was just cute symbolism for a movie, and it has nothing to do with souls or twin flames or any of that crap I came up with in my, maybe it's just, you know, A plus B equals C, you know, and Trinity and Neo just aren't complete things, and in order for them to be powerful things, they have to be in proximity as substances. So maybe my whole thing, maybe they're just meat suits. I have a problem with people as meat suits. I've said that in other videos. I don't think in that way. So if I'm taking this movie and I'm taking all that fruity stuff that I think, like twin flames and spirituality and all that, I take that out and I go by what these programs are saying, or some of them are people, a lot of them are programs, then it's all root chakra, it's all the lower chakras. But I'm not a lower chakra person. Damn. Now I can't like this movie or the other ones. And I really liked it, and I was so totally wrong. I have to totally rethink my life. Can you imagine if she did make it bad on purpose? I'm such a gullible schmuck. Oh my god. And I mean schmuck exactly as schmuck means. I used to say obsolete. Schmucks would be obsolete, if you understand what they are. Okay, now I'm side-eyeing this whole movie and I just want to make fun of it. This is terrible. What horrible reversal. I felt like all of everything I thought solidified in the Simulate scene, which we haven't gotten to yet. So all the ideas I had, I felt like once they got there, that really made me feel like I was right, and I saw it in the theater. So now I gotta see how freaking wrong I was, because I swore when Groff was talking and doing his whole speech that he was saying, yeah, we're all mixed up and shit. We're not, like, I'm not just Smith, or I don't know, something that made me think that. You know what the difference is?
Exactly so.
Subtitles.
Because
I saw it in the theater. People who saw it at home may have watched it with subtitles if they didn't know what the hell the words the people were saying was. Like the, what did they just say? Resurrection pods and, no, was it something Zolium? What's it? I don't know. You know what I mean? I wouldn't know what those words were. I mean, resurrection I could have heard, but I would have thought they were different than the other pods. Anomalium. Which means what? Anyway, they make anomalies? Everything's so much worse. Exomorph slinkies up Neo's old umbilicus. You wouldn't be able to understand that was what he was saying without reading it. Yeah, what Sati, 100% Sati is saying. Well, it still doesn't make sense to me. But I don't care anymore. Merv was right. Things were a hell of a lot better before. I'm just a person. I never, in life even, and this is why I suck at life, I don't just take things as they are. I don't look at things on the surface. I'm always looking for the deeper meaning and what things, you know, what's really going on.
Here we go.
So that's why I'm an idiot like this. Here comes Simulante. I'm not going to say anything about what's happening. I'm going to watch the whole thing through just to make sure that I'm that stupid. Okay, I'm talking in the middle of it. Yeah, I'm also, like I said, I'm not a gamer. I'm a movie fan, which sort of makes me not able to watch movies like other people. So, somebody actually told me, and I didn't know what that meant, but they told me that this movie was made because of some Unreal Engine thing that has to do with video games, so they just made it to sell a video game, I guess. Maybe that's true. Okay, here comes Chad.
Is this real? You have to come with us.
Come on, we gotta go.
Hey.
That was actually a crappy story. They didn't have time for all that to happen. The kid would be in the hospital and all kinds of stuff. They were just having a small conversation. Yeah, I didn't like the women used to be so easy to control line either, but... See, he said that they had more in common than you know, and I was free to be me. Anyways, Jonathan Groff did a really good job in this movie. This scene with the swarm still looks cool, but I don't care anymore. I was never in it for the action, so it's my hallway. It's the coat rack. Okay, so Trinity is now staring into the sun. This is one of those things that me taking all my experience in my movie watching and my own spiritual ideas. In the end of Revolutions, the kids are staring at the sun. When we were watching Neo and the Deus Ex Machina, it looked like Source, it looked like the sun, it looked like spirit, right? So I'm looking at this right now and I start hearing in my head, listening to you. You know, from Tommy. If you watch Tommy at the end, what does he do? It's like a sun worshipping thing. Okay? But it's also like spirit and source and all that stuff. And I just got out of focus. These are the things that made me think that I was right, but I just applied all this spiritual stuff myself. It's my fault. And I'm so very wrong. She's just looking at a sunset. Or sunrise, whatever the hell is sunrise. I made connections where there were none, put it that way. So it's all my own baggage I brought to this movie. But what bothers me is now, like, I'm thinking I gave it a 10. I have to go and change it, but right now all I can think about is how now it changed Revolutions for me, which I really liked. And I was wrong about Revolutions now too. That pisses me off. Not that they did anything wrong, I was just stupid all this time. See, they're not us, they're Pet Sematary undead corpses. So this is an undead movie. There's no us. So it kind of is about self-belief. It's not about belief in any kind of other powers or higher power or any spiritual stuff like that. It's just, oh, I can do this, I'm more powerful. And now Trinity believes that. And Neo is just some guy she has to pull up by his hand. It's funny because I didn't like the first Matrix movie because it was all computers and shit. I liked 2 and 3 because of the mythology and all the crap that I applied to it that clearly wasn't there. So when I liked this movie and a bunch of people who loved the first Matrix didn't, I thought that was the reason. But they should actually like this movie way more than me. because it's very practical and not, you know what I mean? It's ones and zeros. There's no ghost in the machine is what I'm saying. It's just the machine. Yeah, the suits shit. Who's the suits?
Because I know this system.
Stupid.
I know
There's
human
no
beings.
suits.
And I know you.
It's just Warner Brothers is the suits, whatever.
But here
This
it's
movie
a
also hates people.
negotiation.
Unconscious and alone, just like them.
Change big cities.
See, mind over heart. That's what this is. There's no heart. It's just mind. And I thought it was heart.
Before we got started, we decided to stop by to say thank you.
So now to the point where I feel like maybe the whole Matrix story was just about computer programs trying to be free. What was that movie? It was Ex Machina, right? Where the robot wanted to... Yeah. So maybe there were no humans. Because, like I said, looking at it, watching this with the thing, knowing that they did die at the end of Revolutions. I mean, he did. She obviously did. Like I said, clones made sense to me. All kinds of stuff made sense. Where your soul would be able to inhabit the clone somehow. There's no souls here. There's no source here. Not source like Wayne Dyer would have talked about source. This is source like source code. It's just a computer. It's just a computer. And undead zombies trying to get back together again. I really didn't think that at all, but that's because, like I said, I had a totally different, I guess I had a different interpretation of, you know, Revolutions and Reloaded way back then, and I kept it, and I was wrong for 20 years. So, yeah, like, I should change my score on the IMDb. I should bring it down, but honestly, the fact is it's not poorly made. It's just what I thought I liked about these movies wasn't even there. I just put it in there. Which, to some degree, like I was talking about David Lynch movies and stuff, to some degree, sometimes in movies, you're supposed to do that. Like, they want people to come with their own things and see what they see and stuff like that. In this case now, with all the explaining, just like I said, like Donnie Darko, where they started explaining, like, the stuff in Grandma Death's book, where you could watch that movie and like it without having to get down to the explanation parts of how it all works. See, I'd rather just be able to like the movie and think that it's just, and do your own interpretation. This was clearly, this is why I was like, I considered the meat suit problem before, because I don't believe we are meat suits, and I don't want to get into that, but because I believe we come to this planet however we get here, and we are in a meat suit, but that's not who we are. So you can, you know, if you don't like the way you look, you can get plastic surgery, you could dye your hair, you could do, that doesn't change who you are. That's what I always felt, because who you are is on the inside, not on the outside. So that corrects me from what I was thinking in the other movies. And it makes more sense, I guess, with other interpretations I've seen on YouTube and stuff like that. So this movie's probably, I don't know who it's for, apart from the people who made it. Because if, like I said, I thought the reason I liked it and other people didn't was because I thought it was all the spirit stuff that I just made up in my own head. Looking at it now, seeing how it's really just, you know, it's more like the first one in that it's all about brass tacks stuff. I totally got that wrong. So if the people who liked the first one and didn't like all the other fruity crap and the, what I thought was fruity crap, maybe they were just inspired by werewolves and vampires, and we weren't supposed to think about that kind of stuff. And, you know, the Merovingian being like a, not necessarily a Satan type, but, you know, an underworld figure who had Persephone It's just, it was just a red herring, all that stuff then. So, which is fine. Which is fine. But it seemed like a philosophical thing. And come to find out, it's not philosophical at all. And I know a lot of people, maybe not everybody, but a lot of people saw the Matrix movies as philosophical because it seemed like that's what they were going for. And now, like I'm saying, this is like, this is, I always felt like if Neo had been able to defeat the architects in the old movies, it would be like defeating God, which you can't do. But that was kind of a point to it, but that now it's it's just the architect. None of that stuff is really real, and I have no problem with people determining their own fate if they'd like to. I just don't think it's possible. But self-determinism, all that stuff, yeah, I really like that stuff. But again, I don't see that that's what this movie was about. This seemed like this movie was about, maybe it was made bad on purpose. I don't know. No, all I know is everything I thought was just in my own head. I completely made it up, and I made connections, and I brought my own stuff in there that just wasn't even there. That sucks. So I'm stupid. And come to find out, I was stupid 20 years ago, which I thought I was smarter than. But alas, it's not their fault. Like, it's a well-made movie. It's well-made. Like, I can't believe how much I changed since watching the special features last night. But yeah, so I'm going to take this whole thing, put it together. And I hope nobody actually watches it, because that would be a waste of time. I did want to say one more thing. I'm kind of shocked because I don't change my mind on movies. There's one other movie I remember changing my mind on a great deal, and it was Velvet Goldmine. But it was the opposite. I saw Velvet Goldmine. I got it like on VHS, and I watched it on a very small TV. I was like, oh, this movie's stupid. Right? Years later, I rewatched it for some reason. I don't know why. I guess I forgot that Christian Bale was in it. I don't know why I decided to watch it again. And I loved it. And I was like, what the hell was wrong with me? And it's it's not my top 10 or anything, but it's one of my favorite movies. So that's the only other movie I can remember really completely changing on. And like I said, in this case, it doesn't just change my mind on this movie, it changes my mind on the other ones. I don't even know if I can rewatch Revolutions and Reloaded now, because I wouldn't know how to look at it, because I was looking at it all wrong. I feel like I need to be somebody else to watch it and just start fresh. How do you start fresh? I don't know. Anyways, so yeah, this is the only movie I've ever completely changed that way on. And I didn't think I was going to. I really didn't. I'd seen other interpretations. I was like, oh, they're wrong. I'm wrong.